I think coming out is a process that is completely your own. There's no one right way to come out. There is no definitive way of coming out. I think the only criteria for coming out is that you feel comfortable. It's something that you want to share. It should never be something that's forced out of you. It should never be something that you're ashamed of, because there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with being you. And I think if you take anything away from this video, it's just that. I think Pride is recognition that gay culture and LGBT people have come a very long way, and I think it's a celebration of that. I do also think it's a reminder of the work that we need to do, because not everybody is in a space where they can make a coming out video like this, put it on the internet, and not have any consequences. So let's just start. My coming out story, I don't think is very interesting. That's not the best thing to say. But I didn't have a hard coming out process. I think for myself, it was difficult at times because kids can be cruel, and I think when you're spending every day of your middle school life going to school and being told you're a faggot or a leslie or a dyke, like that will eat away at you. But there was never a moment where I didn't feel like okay with being who I was. I didn't struggle to tell people. I had supportive friends. I had a really great counselor that identified as gay and that was able to kind of guide me through the process. I have parents that love me regardless, and I think even if me being bisexual and dating women has been hard for them, they have never made it apparent to me. Now, they might have their own separate life about it and have their own feelings. They've never said it to me. So I've been lucky in that sense. I have a really amazing girlfriend, and I have really amazing friends that have accepted us together as a couple. And I think even more so, I think my parents have done a really great job with, taking on everything that comes with having a kid that identifies as gay or bisexual or whatever. I had a pretty easy coming out, and I think you have to acknowledge that privilege because not everybody gets that. I think it could have been so much worse for me, and while it was hard, and I think while people were mean, I didn't get kicked out of my house. I didn't have anybody beating me up because of it. I didn't have some of the really tragic stories that you hear and that you see play out, whether it be in real life, on TV, in the media. I didn't have any of that. I was really lucky. But I think you have to be able to take that into account and be like, yeah, I have that privilege as a bi person or as a gay person in LA, where everybody's very liberal and very open about their sexuality. My journey started in the 2nd grade. I remember very, very vividly having a crush on someone who will remain nameless. I had a crush, and it hit me hard, and I went, oh shit, don't tell anybody about this because you shouldn't. And that was my first instinct. I couldn't tell my mom, I couldn't tell my dad, I just knew I had a crush on a girl. And I kind of forgot about it as school continued. Like, I really didn't think about any other girls. I didn't have any crushes. I was just kind of out here doing my own thing. And then when I got to 7th grade, that's when stuff started to change. Physically, obviously, and mentally you start to change. And I think everybody should be sent away when they go to middle school because it's terrible. If you liked middle school, I swear to God, please tell me what your experience was, because I don't think middle school is good for anyone. I don't think middle school is good for anybody that's gay either, because you're on top of already figuring out who you are and what's going on. You have so many, you're just trying to figure yourself out, and that's the hardest thing. So imagine being 13 years old and already being like, all right, I already feel different, and then dealing with your sexuality on top of that. It was bad. I would be lying if I didn't say that I didn't want to harm myself in any way. There were many times where I went to the counselor just crying. I didn't want to go to school. I skipped a lot of school in middle school and partially in high school. You can be 100% about your sexuality, but the minute somebody kind of attacks you for it and wants to see that as wrong, you can't help but take that personally. So I think a lot of my middle school years, I just don't like to think about, because I don't like to think about a time where I didn't feel okay being myself. I don't like to think that there's anything wrong with who I am, because there's not. I got to 7th grade science class and we did our unit, if you will, on the birds and the bees. And I was fortunate enough to go to a school where they talked about gender and sexuality. And my 7th grade teacher broke down what being bisexual was. And I, again, had that oh shit moment. And I sat in class and I was like, okay, well this makes sense to me. Like, I like boys, I like girls. Okay, I'm a bisexual. I would argue that 8 years ago it was not as cool to be anywhere on the spectrum than it is now. And I feel like even within the last 8 years, it's just being gay or being queer or using different pronouns. Not that it's cool, but I just think we're at a different time where it's just generally more accepted. When I came out, I was 13. I was really young. I came out to my friends first because I knew that either some of my friends were gay and were going through the same thing, or were going to be gay, they just didn't realize it yet. I didn't really want people to know, and I think that's always just been my thing. I've just kind of wanted to label myself and have my own moment. I wanted to own it in my own way. I hated people being like, oh, you're a lesbian. And I still hate that to this day. And like, no disrespect to anybody that identifies as lesbian, but I do think it's so important to be able to own who you are and what you want to be labeled as. And I think my biggest issue in coming out was everybody always thought I was a lesbian. And that was so infuriating to me, because it was like, no, I might dress a certain way. I say that wearing like the gayest ass outfit. For me, I always wanted to do what I wanted to. I wanted to dress the way I wanted to dress. I wanted to say the things I wanted to say and speak my mind in the way that I wanted to. And people saw that as being gay or lesbian or whatnot. Even though that's great if you identify as that just wasn't who I was. And so I had a really big issue with people being like, you're gay, and me being like, no, I'm not. Don't call me that. Because I wanted to own who I actually was. I think in terms of middle school, like, yeah, it was really tough. I felt like I cried a lot, because you never want to feel sorry for who you are and being who you are. I think I hear a lot of people say, you know, I didn't choose this life. I didn't wake up and want things to be harder for myself. And I feel that way. I didn't wake up and have the conscious decision of, I would like to get bullied for the rest of my life and have people tell me I should go kill myself. I don't think anybody wakes up wanting that, but I do think it comes with it. I think I'm a stronger person because of it, and I think now, like, you can call me whatever you want. I think after you've been called a bitch, a faggot, dyke, like, whatever it is, I want people to get, like, call me something good, give me something harder, because all of that, you know, it's whatever, but I think it took me a really long time to get there. I think that's why these moments and these videos are so important, because you can see that there is growth that comes with coming out. I don't think it's an overnight process. I don't think it's a day-long process. I think it's a lifelong process of figuring out how you want to be seen, how you want to participate in the community, and how you want to be involved. And I think my coming out, again, I was really lucky. I was tremendously lucky to have a phone call and just say, hey mom, I'm bi, and for her to go, that's okay, I know, it's fine. And that's that. Do my parents slip up? Yes, tremendously. My mom has said homophobic things, my sister has said transphobic things, people think it's okay to say faggy or whatever, you know. I think sometimes people just aren't educated and they don't know, or they might feel that way. But I think for me, it's when you're comfortable with yourself, hearing those comments gets easier, but it motivates you. It gives me a different kind of burn, where I think I used to get very upset. Now I get upset, but I know that that's only one small portion of my community. And the rest of my community is very liberal and very understanding and very knowledgeable on LGBT culture. I think my parents have come a very long way, and I think the like unfortunate answer to all of this is it gets better with time. I remember when I first came out in like 2008, 2009, the It Gets Better campaign was really huge, and it was very impactful for me to see that and to know that there's a life after middle school, there's a life after high school, and you get to college and you realize literally everyone is gay, and everybody's making out with some girl and figuring themselves out, and like, as somebody that just graduated from college, I have gay friends, I have lesbian friends, I have friends that are trans and are in the middle of transitioning, and I never thought I would get to that point in my life where like gay culture is so relevant to me because it's like an actual part of my life. Whereas I think in middle school and high school it felt so far gone. And I think the worst thing is telling somebody like, hey, it does get better, just wait 4 years. Or just wait 4 more years, wait 8 years, wait 10. To a kid that feels like forever. But to me, now it's important to look back and to see how far I've come. It's really incredible to me to be able to do something as small as posting a photo on my Instagram of me and my girlfriend, because even 8 years ago, I didn't think that could happen. I didn't think that I would ever have a girlfriend or find somebody that I loved enough to be like, hey, this is me, I'm coming out publicly, is by on my page. I have a YouTube video where I'm gonna go talk about it. I feel like, yeah, I've probably told my story hundreds of times, but I don't think it's ever meant as much as it does at this point in my life right now, because it's so real and it's something that I really do feel passionate about. And I think that, I don't know what my life as a bisexual person will ever be like. I think it's constantly changing. I think it's been really good and it's been really great, but I don't know, it might get tougher down the line as you get older and you're trying to figure out the marriage thing and the kids thing and like being a gay parent. I don't know. I haven't even thought that far because I didn't even think I'd get to this point. But I think that's the best part about being out, is like looking back and being able to see that so much has changed. And I feel so grateful for my experience and for the people I had in my life to kind of coach me through it, and to know that it gets better, and it gets better with time. And I think that's, again, like that's the word. Nobody wants to hear that, especially in this day and age where we get everything so fast. I think it's just really awesome, and I think we're in such a great place in LGBTQ culture. That I'm excited to see how it all pans out for everybody that's younger than me. And I think if you're watching this and you are younger, or you're just figuring out, or you don't know whether or not you want to come out, just know that there are people that love you and that support you. And I'm going to put some stuff in the description because I think it's so important to have those resources. I was given a ton during my coming out, and like PFLAG has been so incredible to me. Trevor Project, Teen Line, there are resources and there are people that love you and that care about you for you, and I think you can hear that a million times, and people really try to beat that into young people's heads, like there are people that love you, but it's so true. There are people like me, and I don't even know you if you're watching this, because I've been there. I know what it's like to be on the other side and think, like, I don't cry. I think it's really hard to deal with this stuff, and I think it's just important to know that there are other people out there that do care and that want to see you on the other side. I want to be able to know that there's somebody that watched this video and then 10 years later they're out here living their best life with a girlfriend in an apartment, you know? I didn't think that would ever happen. I didn't think I would find other people that were like myself and that I love as much as I do, and, you know, I think it's all possible. I think you just gotta have the right resources. You gotta find that internal strength, and you really just have to be okay with yourself. I think that's the biggest part of coming out, is finding that sense of being grounded with yourself and knowing who you are. And again, it's a long process. It's an everyday journey, it's an everyday struggle, but I'm proud to be who I am. I'm proud to have gone through the things I've gone through, and while I'm just one piece of the story, and there's so many out there. I think, watch those other videos, stay informed, learn about everybody's different experiences, because I think that's what makes us stronger as a community. At the end of the day, there's one common thread that brings us together, and that's that we are different, but in such an amazing, positive way. And we have the capacity and capabilities to do such amazing work. And so I'm just really thankful to have made it here and to not have taken my life. I'm just really grateful, and I'm happy to be here and to be this point in my life. And I'm so excited for the rest of it. And I'm so excited for you, wherever you are, whoever you are, wherever you're at with your journey. I'm right here rooting for you, and I love you. And happy Pride Month. That's what this is all about. Happy Pride. Be proud of who you are, love yourself, and I'll see you next time.